So good morning, everyone. So I'm Jacques Bonifay. I'm the CEO and founder of Transatel. I'm also president of the French MVNO Association and the president of the European Association of Full MVNO. And I've been quite active in discussing about roaming with the institution. Just a few words of Transatel. It's a company I founded 13 years ago. We did it on roaming. So basically in my phone, and it's still a service we are commercializing, that we imagine 13 years ago a service with, in my SIM cards, I got a French number, I got a Belgium number, I got a Swiss number, and I got a Luxembourg number. That means when taking the Thalys this morning, when I cross the border, automatically my SIM card switch number, and I'm using a Belgium number. That means I got a local rate because I'm an MVNO on Mobistar. In France, I'm an MVNO on Telecom, so I'm always local. So, and 5, 6, 7 years ago, I met Viviane Reding, and I told her, what you have been dreaming, I did it. That's your dream. She didn't smile. And she asked me about what kind of VAT are you using? And why you don't put everything in Luxembourg. And I said, I'm a French company. If I do that, the tax authority in France will hurt me. So I don't want, I'm afraid, you know. But we did it. So I've been involved in roaming for a long time. Now, this business is still about 12–13% of my revenue of Transatel, and we are a 25 million euro company, and we are 120 people, so it's still a business which is existing. The fact that I got Swiss number, that means I can offer Swiss rate at local rate for European people who are still paying a very high price. I didn't invest a lot in this business for the last 6 years for obvious reason, and I developed all kinds of new businesses because I had absolutely no visibility, and I'm still wondering whether this business will disappear or not. The fact that it's only 15% of my business doesn't really prevent me from sleeping at night, but still. But I still have the ambition to use the wholesale cap to develop this business. And as a matter of fact, we have launched 2 offers recently. One in September in Belgium with local roaming like at home, and we also included international traffic, so everything is included. And another one in France last December. It's the same offer in Belgium and in France, and if you compare them, you see that the Belgium offer is something like 50% more expensive than the French offer. And I do about the same margin. So we can always discuss about that. So I still have the ambition to use my multi-IMSI technology, about putting multiple phone number, but having deals in some other countries. Or because I'm going to be full MVNO in France, making deals with countries outside of Europe, and trying to extend my offer outside of Europe. Now, I must admit, I don't invest lots of money on it because I need to have a European business to be able to extend this business outside of Europe in terms of value proposition, in terms of access of countries. So I have got a paradox here to manage, which I don't feel very comfortable. So that's about Transatel, just to tell you from what I come from. But I'm clearly one of a player, so I'm a small player, but I'm a player, and actually today, in some European countries, especially France and Belgium, and to some extent Luxembourg and Switzerland, if you want to have a real like-at-home offer, I'm still the best in the market. I don't put lots of marketing effort, obviously, because I'm just careful about my money. But I will be happy to do it when things get clear. Those news offers that I've launched recently, so I did not use my multi-IMSI technology, I use the wholesale cap, especially the last one from July 13, which means that those offers are going to be reduced next July because I will benefit from the new offer. By the way, when I say I'm doing roaming like at home, I'm only doing it for voice and SMS, not for data, because the wholesale cap for data is just too high. The wholesale cap of data is going to divide it by 3 next July. So I'm going to be able to do it when it will be a megabyte per the counter or maybe small bundles. But clearly I won't be able to offer a 1 gigabyte offer across Europe. I will need to put a premium on the price because the wholesale cap for data will be too high. I think voice and SMS will be pretty good, but data I still have a problem. So that's about Transatel and the wholesale cap as a company that I'm managing. The structural solutions, I don't believe in ARP. I could be an ARP myself, I don't even try. So for me, it's going to go nowhere. And imagine, I mean, if you want to put your own money in a new business that you call ARP, and at the same time you hear that roaming is going to be abolished, I mean, you have to be crazy to put money in becoming an ARP when the whole business is going to be abolished. LBO might work, but I mean, I told him many times, I think it's a big opportunity for people who manage the end-user interface and for who it is easy to build. So for me, it's potentially a good opportunity for Apple and for Google, because when you get out of your plane in Madrid, for example, then you are offered €3 for 1 gigabyte local, and who is the best person to propose this for you, this deal? For me, it's Apple. Now we'll see whether they commercialize it or not. But whether it's a solution by SMS where you have to give your credit card by SMS, I don't believe in it. So LBO, we'll see. It could be pretty big if Apple and Google go into that. My problem is that when we throw money away in California, which I got a problem as European citizens. So in terms of individual policy, I got a personal issue against that. I mean, I got a problem because it has not been really taken into account and discussed. Abolition of roaming. Alors, we can abolish roaming from a retail standpoint. When you look at the retail price, for example, let's speak about France and Belgium. I anticipate that there will be some kind of waterbed effect in France, and I don't anticipate a waterbed effect in Belgium, taking into account the actual rate. By how much, I don't know, because I did not spend my nights doing number crunching, but I know the market fairly well, so I feel there will be some kind of waterbed effect. Now, from a wholesale standpoint, they will, and by the way, because before I go with that, this morning I take the Thalys to go from Paris to Brussels. I pay €99 and I'm always traveling second class. That means it's going to be €200 to come here. As a citizen, I got more problem with the price of a Thalys than with my roaming rate. And by the way, roaming rates have been decreasing by something like 30% per year for the last 6-7 years, roughly speaking, when Thalys rate has been increasing by 10% every year for the last 10 years. Same thing with Eurostar. I got a big problem with Eurostar, and I got a big problem with Thalys. And of course, you cannot really believe me because I'm a player in the MVNO, but I think if you start to ask people who travel frequently between Paris and Brussels, I tend to think, and I did ask, I mean, people have more problem with the cost of a Thalys ticket than the cost of using their mobile phone when they are in Belgium, when they are in France. It's maybe two separate issues. Actually, it's not. It's about people who travel around Europe, and what is blocking people from traveling from one country to the other country, or to have a relationship from one country to another country. Now, coming back to the wholesale rate, roaming will always exist from a wholesale standpoint. So we can abolish it from a retail standpoint, but on wholesale it does exist. Roaming as a cost, additional cost than roaming. So I agree that 6-7 years ago, the marginal additional cost of roaming was nothing compared to the retail price 6-7 years ago. Now it's not completely the case. For example, let's look at the GRX cost. GRX is for data. So when you look at your cost to do roaming, when you are a full MVNO, you have the wholesale rate by which you buy from another operators from another country, and then you have the GRX, which is the international transit. And then that's not completely negligible. So, and also you have to manage roaming deals with one country. And so you have to manage them, you have to negotiate, you have to follow the technical links. When you start to divide this cost, this fixed cost, by the traffic you do in roaming with these countries, then you start to have the price per megabyte or per SMS per minute, which is not completely negligible, taking into account the actual level of wholesale cap. So you cannot say that the wholesale cost in terms of production for national traffic and for roaming traffic are the same. It's not the same. How much different? I don't know exactly, but there is a difference which starts to be that you see it. You see this difference. Me, I see it as an MVNO, and I even think that the MNO should see it at some point. No, I didn't do all the analysis, but it's something that I really see as an MVNO. Which means that if you start to abolish roaming, then MVNOs have a deal. If MVNOs don't see their wholesale costs changing, then they have a problem, and there is a risk that they disappear. So that's why, I mean, as a European Association of Full MVNO, we have strongly advocated for that the wholesale cost to be decreased, so that we can survive on the long term, because then we think that there is a very, very high risk for us. So why not to abolish roaming and taking the risk of waterbed effect in Cyprus, because that could be a political decision. Why not? And the political decision accepts some waterbed effect, which will be zero in Belgium, small in France, and big in Cyprus, but why not? But then, if we want to keep MVNOs, we have to be sure that their wholesale cost, that they don't have a disadvantage. And today, I mean, it's still under debate. So it's something which is very important for the MVNO. The possibility for MVNO to have a very good partnership with a MNO in another country to have a roaming deals, I don't believe in it, because I'm only Transatel, and even Virgin Mobile is only Virgin Mobile. So I don't believe that we can have a specific deals in some other countries. Small operators like Free and Bouygues in France, they can have a specific deals in Portugal because they offer a symmetrical deal. So you have something to offer. Me, I have nothing to offer. I only buy, but I don't have to offer network access. So for me to develop specific partnership, I don't believe in it. Now, last things, I will conclude by what happened in France for the last few weeks. It's quite funny. You know that Free last summer announced free roaming in Portugal, limited to 30 days. Now they announced that they were going to do the same for Italy. Then a few days after, Bouygues Telecom also announced roaming like at home, limited to 30 days. Then Orange yesterday announced a few things. So we see that there is some competition coming onto the market, and because in France the competition has been very, very hard recently for the last 2 years. Now they try to be imaginative, and they use roaming to compete against each other. So you see not only the small Transatel doing things, bringing competition, but you also see the big MNOs also bringing some competition. Of course, the kind of offer they are doing today are restricted to 30 days, which means it's for vacation, but it's really for the consumers. It's not for the professionals, but me, Transatel, I'm addressing the professionals with my offers. So we see that thanks to the wholesale cap, thanks to the competition globally speaking, we see that there is more competition on roaming on the market. And I can tell you that's going to be even more, that is going to be stronger next July, when all the MVNOs and also the small MNOs will benefit from the new wholesale cap, because the difference in the wholesale cap next July is very important between July 13 and July 14. So in a way, I mean, this new regulation proposal from European Commission abolishing roaming when roaming free is not terminated is a little bit confusing. I'm going to launch new offer in July. With new price which will be lower. I believe that Bouygues Telecom, Free, and some other MNOs, and Bouygues and some other countries, they will do the same. And in the same time, the whole things will be abolished. So it's a bit confusing for players like us in the market.